Hare Krishna. Can someone start the Kirtan? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavade Paschatya Deshadarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavade Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji is Mataji's Dandavat. Dhanya Dhameshwari Mataji, can you continue for another 5 to 7 minutes? I'll ping you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving this opportunity.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Dev, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, is my voice clear? Are you able to hear me properly? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats. Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the Mangala Charan prayers. And Rasarangini Mataji or the other devotees, just remind me to make one announcement before we start the discussion. Okay, we'll start with the prayers first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashtapraeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopa kumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vamcha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's Tandots. Welcome you all to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bhakti Vaibhav session. So before I go to the announcement, just few things to share. Like, as some of you know, that I have been undergoing a dental treatment for last few weeks, and it is going to last for another 2-3 weeks every Saturday. And as a result, I need to make some extra effort to speak. And it always feels like I am chewing something, although I am not chewing. So please excuse me if you find any difficulty in understanding, or you can tell me, I can repeat. Nothing worrisome. It should be all right in another 2-3 weekends. So one important announcement, you might have seen that on the ISKCON Mangalore devotee group chat, one of a very exemplary students of Srila Prabhupada, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, His Grace Amrish Prabhu, Mr. Alfred Ford, who happens to be the great grandson of Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company. So Prabhuji has been instrumental in leading the TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium project in ISKCON Mayapur, which has been the project very close to the heart, one of the projects very close to the heart to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada personally instructed Amrish Prabhu to drive and take this project to completion. So Amrish Prabhu recently, 3-4 days back, Prabhuji has suffered a stroke and remains in critical condition. So we request all the devotees to pray at your individual level or even in small congregation like Bhakti Vraksha, etc. Dedicate some rounds of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or perform some small kirtan, or we can chant Narsimha Arti, say few number of times, 5 times, 11 times, and dedicate those results for protection and well-being of Amrish Prabhu. And not just from the Lakshmi point of view, Prabhuji has taken it as a mission in his life to fulfill this wish of Srila Prabhupada, and has personally contributed a great amount of Lakshmi, great amount of wealth in fulfilling this particular order of Srila Prabhupada. So because of the circumstantial constraints, the project has got delayed. It was supposed to open initially 2025 Gaur Purnima, and now it has got pushed to late 2026. So my humble request, please do pray for Amrish Prabhu's well-being and recovery from this. So with this, we will start our discussion today. So as part of the introduction to chapter 2, we saw the link between chapter 1 and chapter 2, where in chapter 1, Srila Shukadev Goswami, after establishing the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga, mainly in a dogmatic fashion. Dogmatic means whatever is being mentioned, it is to be accepted as undeniable truth. He wanted to also address some of the other practitioners of various paths of transcendental realization, including the yogis, the jnanis, etc., and even karma yogis and karmis for that matter. After explaining the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga, Srila Shukadev Goswami specifically goes into detailed description of some of these other processes of transcendental realization, so as to establish credentials and then drive the practitioners of this path gradually towards the path of Bhakti Yoga. And we went through the flow chart, giving a detailed classification of yogis based on if they are still attached to some form of material enjoyment, then they are advised to meditate on Virat Rupa, on the universal form of the Lord. And those yogis who are able to completely detach from the path of material enjoyment, they are advised to meditate upon the super soul form of the Lord, Paramatma feature of the Lord, and they ultimately achieve liberation. As such, even those who are meditating on the Virat Rupa, they also ultimately reach the goal of liberation, but their path is much more tedious and long-term one. It takes longer to reach perfection through that path compared to the Paramatma meditators. So as part of this particular chapter 2, we will see that Srila Shukadev Goswami he explains in terms of how the necessities of life, they need to be kept at bare minimum, what is required for sustaining our life, our body and soul together. And he gives various beautiful examples from the nature to enlighten all of us on the path of renunciation. And renunciation doesn't mean just the renunciation for the renounced order of life, for the sannyasis, but renunciation, he teaches, even for a normal householder managing the family responsibilities in day-to-day life, how, what should be our approach towards maintaining ourselves and those who are dependent upon us. And after that, he goes into detail about how the one who meditates upon the Paramatma feature of the Lord, how do they achieve liberation? How do they achieve perfection in their life? And he also mentions in detail about the description of Lord's feature as the super soul, as the Paramatma. So we are going to see these verses today. And he also covers how even the first type of yogi, those who are still attached to material enjoyment, how they can meditate upon the Virata Rupa to achieve the ultimate goal of life for a yogi, which is liberation. So let us proceed. We had group activity planned. So mainly this particular group activity is nothing but Shastra Chakshu, how to see the happenings, the updates around the world through the eyes of the scriptures, through the principles that we all discuss and share and learn in this particular setup. So we will start with the group discussion activity. Let me make the screen big. So the background to this particular activity, we saw that how basically other parts of the Vedic literature, including the Shrutis, the Smritis, etc., many of them, even if they are subservient to the topmost literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, we saw how a devotee should understand their significance and should never minimize their importance. We basically saw that how even Lord Krishna, while describing the path of Bhakti Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, he does cover various other parts of transcendental, other paths of transcendental realization, including the path of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, etc. Because these are required to accommodate people from different strata, from different groups within the society who may be attracted towards different processes of transcendental realization. So then and we also saw few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna also endorses this fact that all other paths as well as the scriptures catering to those paths are equally important to reclaim those souls who are attached to it. So now we will directly go to the group discussion exercise. So in this, we would form maybe around 3 different breakout rooms, and devotees can think of any recent updates happenings in the contemporary modern history. And by contemporary modern history, you can take any last 5, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, how you feel convenient to give suitable example of happenings, how we can understand that all these happenings or updates in the modern contemporary world are solely based on the illusory conception of goal of life. We saw one specific verse from Vaishnava Acharya, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati, the uncle of Gopala Bhatta Goswami, that how he mentions that the heavenly planets or the enjoyment in the heavenly planets is nothing but a phantasmagoria for a devotee. And we saw in detail why it is a phantasmagoria, how it is an imagination, because just like the material planet of Earth, even the higher planetary systems up till Swargaloka, they also get inundated, and they are also part of the annihilation which happens at the end of day of Brahma, and as well as at the end of life of Brahma. And sometimes Jiva Goswami mentions even during Yuga Sandhya, when one yuga is changing to another, there have been some inundations. So all these inundations and annihilation of the material world, that also includes Swargaloka. So that is also a illusory enjoyment. Why? Because it is not permanent, it is not long lasting. And secondly, also think of few modern contemporary inventions which are in total ignorance of the ultimate goal of life. Some of these examples we did see as part of the discussion. So you can take those, you can take others as well. Okay. Anybody has any question on the exercise? Prabhuji's, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Everybody is clear? Can we request everybody's participation? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna. Okay. So right now, what is the time? It is 10:24. So maybe we give time to devotees till around 10:39, 10:40 to discuss both these categories. And since we have sufficient time, around 10 to 15 minutes per group, so we would request few participations, and within that you can shortlist which ones you want to present in the main room. So let me start with the breakout rooms. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Pran Chaitanya Prabhu, can you hear me? Sorry, a quick thing which Prabhu had asked me to inform in the class. We are launching Krishna Balaram challenge, which will probably be for 5 days, where it will be very basic challenge, like, attending Mangalarti, or, trying to spread the name of Bhagavad Gita to 5 people, something like that. It will be very basic. We will be sharing the link, shortly this week. That is either tomorrow or so. Can you just please make an announcement in the class for everybody in Bhakti Vaibhav to join? Sorry, I could not inform you earlier.
Sure, Mataji. We will have a dedicated time in the end to announce and share.
Sure, Prabha. I just thought I'll tell that because
Sure.
I'm in service, so I could not inform you earlier nor take it up in the class. Sorry about
Sure.
that. Thank you so
Hare,
much.
Hare. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Ishwari
Hare
Murari,
Krishna.
can you
Yeah.
make me host, please?
I'll do that, Prabhuji. Just a moment.
Okay. Only then I can close the breakout rooms. Okay, fine. So we will close. You were earlier part of breakout rooms, Shama Gopika Mataji, Ishwari Murari Priya Mataji.
Yes, we were part of group number
Yes.
2.
Sure,
Room number
sure.
2.
Okay, okay. Fine. Give me 1 minute. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Jagadananda Prabhu, I am making you co-host. Okay. And let me see if we have other devotees. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Mataji, did you have sufficient time to discuss?
Not
Yes,
really,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Oh,
For us,
sorry.
it was fine, Prabhu.
For us,
Okay.
it was fine, Prabhu.
Okay, okay. Sorry for those who didn't have sufficient time, but whichever examples you discussed, you can list those as part of the group discussion. So maybe we'll start with which group had sufficient time? Room number 3, breakout room 3.
Number 2 is also okay, Prabhu. We have discussed it.
Okay, okay, fine. So let's start with breakout room 2. Who are the devotees? Shama Gopika Mataji who will be presenting.
Room number 1 is also.
Sure, Venkata Narasimha Prabhuji. I will come to breakout room 1 after breakout room 2. Yes, Shama Gopika Mataji.
Prabhu, myself will be presenting from room number 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Prabhu, the first question where for the first point, where the actually recent contemporary whatever discoveries have been, whatever we are being using, and it has reduced our Krishna consciousness. So for that, there are examples like advancement or in the use of AI technology. In all these like technologies, people are like just advancing like blindly, and the God consciousness is not there. So usage of these technologies extensively makes us less God conscious. So we are only like concentrating on the technology part and not concentrating on the spirituality.
Right. So
And
yes, please proceed.
yes, Prabhu, this is one point. The second point is like we have like large condominium style of societies, modern societies, where all kinds of facilities are available, but there is no God consciousness in that. And mostly whenever like the festivals also happen, mostly it will be like social meeting kind of things there, and there will be very less God consciousness. And like individual level, everyone is like striving for sense gratification, how more sense gratification we can get. And also like people want to increase their lifespan. So I have seen in the news like one person is like spending millions of dollars to keep himself like young, to extend his lifespan. And also like in the family life, if we see, they want to buy more and more to increase their luxurious life and make more money. And in the state level, if we see like this, all the states want to like compete with the neighboring state, and there is like disputes for land, and water, etc. And the country level, if we see, then there is so much expenditure on the astronomy part. Like they want to go to the different planets, and they're spending. Leaders are not spending any amount or time on spirituality, but they want to spend time to conquer the new planets and all. And in education also, there is only teaching about atheism. So in room number 2, like everyone had participated, all the participants. So I'm just sharing it to whatever points they have shared. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank
also, like,
you.
people are of the opinion, like, like zindagi na milegi dobara, and then they don't have any like spiritual knowledge, what is the ultimate goal of life. And they just want to spend as much as possible for sense gratification and eat and be merry. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Shama Gopi Mataji, and all the
Mataji,
devotees.
second part of it you
Yeah,
missed.
second part. Yes, I'm coming to it. Yeah, so the second part of it, Prabhu, wherein we are going to use, how we can use the technology, right? Like when we understand the purpose of life. So there are like for example, our class itself is like on Zoom. So we are using the technology for spreading Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada's books, like they are now digitized and they're available online, which helps people to go through them and at their ease. And also like apps like Transcend, which we are using. So we can hear the Bhagavatam and on the go, like whenever we want. And also like the social media, WhatsApp and all can be used for propagating Krishna consciousness. And there are like, we can also record our classes. Suppose if sometime we miss the classes, then we can record our classes and hear it later. So this is also like proper usage, like like we say yukta vairagya, like that. And all types of transportations are being used in ISKCON, like to propagate Krishna consciousness. Like in the time of Prabhupada also, like people used to ask him like, why are you using like luxury cars and all? But then Prabhupada told him that whatever is there, like we should use it in the Krishna consciousness. So yes, Prabhu, that is one. And also like modern technology is being used in building the temples. And like the new thing is like devotees are also making use of the technology which is used in movies. Like now the new movies come like Mahavatar Narsima, so which will also help in spreading the Krishna consciousness. Yes, Prabhu, these are the points we discussed. And
Thank
if
you.
there is anything missing, please, I ask room number 2 participants, if anything missing, please add.
Thank you. Thank you, Shama Gopika Mataji, and all the devotees in breakout room too. So you very nicely covered both the aspects, the downside of it, of the innovations or the modern way of life, where Krishna consciousness seems to take a back seat and all other priorities seem to be more prominent. But at the same time, how devotees are using some of these technologies, I would say including AI. See, earlier to refer to Srila Prabhupada book and to take references for a specific point, it was difficult. Means a person really needed to have a grasp of various books. But now using AI, we are able to, if we want to get, even if we want to search how to become a pure devotee, the AI chat box so nicely gives summary from Srila Prabhupada's writings. So it is very, very beneficial. I would say it is like a two-edged sword. If we use it for the right way, in the right way, definitely it can help us advance very nicely. But if we are not careful, then degradation also can be very, very rapid and fast. Thank you, Mataji, and all the Prabhujis and Matajis in breakout room 2. So next we will go with breakout room 1. Who will be the presenters from breakout room 1?
Myself will present.
Venkata Narasimha Prabhu. Thank you, Venkata Narasimha Prabhu, for 1 second. Let me pin your video 1 second. Yes, Venkata Narasimha Prabhuji.
In the recent days, for the last 3 years, there is a continuous war between Russia and Ukraine. And in this war, a lot of loss is there. Men are dying and properties are destroyed, and so many weapons are being used. And from other countries also they are borrowing and using. And that is a waste thing. But it is nowadays so many countries, other countries especially, they want to be superpower, and so they want to utilize their weapons on these people also. Like that, they are also encouraging for this type of wars in other countries also. And
Well, before we go to the next point, very, very important point. If we go to the root of the start of this particular war, even a child would laugh. The root, the starting point for this war was one particular country wants to be a part of another big group of countries who are trying to be self-sufficient in terms of their defense. And while trying to give a better protection to their people, they have gotten themselves into a war where millions and millions of people's lives have got destroyed. So it is a contrast that the very purpose they wanted to achieve, what the result has been as a result of this war is totally devastating. What kind of protection or better living you want to give to subjects where millions and millions of people are already losing their life? So this is one point. Second point Prabhuji mentioned is there are
another thing
also
is nowadays
yes,
the people are very crazy about new inventions, especially ultra going to the space and other e-cars races, motorbike races, all these things. And youth, especially youth, are spoiled and getting a lot of difficulties in this one.
true. And even on this front, some of the modern, like they call it Gen Z. Gen Z means the modern generation of youths. What attracts them or what gives them adrenaline, it is so much risk to their lives. Like many a times we see these people trying to make reels and all putting their lives in danger. And we can clearly see this is definitely not for what Lord Krishna and through Lord Brahma, he has given us this particular body. Definitely that is not the purpose why Lord has given us the human form of life for which these people are risking their lives foolishly. Yes, Venkata Narasimha Prabhu, please
And
proceed.
everybody is thinking of amassing wealth so that the other people will have no chance to for their livelihood also. That is how it is happening. And another thing is in the recently in Bhagavatam 6.3.28, Yamaraja is instructing his Yamadutas that they have to go for the sake of the Grohamedis and material people only, and instead of going to the Krishna conscious devotees. That means everybody must be having Krishna consciousness rather than spending the time and energy in the Gromadis and in material accumulations, all these things. So that
Thank
is.
you, thank you. Thank you, Venkata Narasimha Prabhu and all the devotees in breakout room 1. And this particular last point that Prabhuji mentioned, that overemphasis on increasing the comforts in life versus missing out on the core goal. We will see this point taken into great detail by Srila Shukadev Goswami with very wonderful examples starting text 4 onwards. So we will touch upon this. Thank you, Prabhuji. Any other point, Venkata Narasimha Prabhu? If not,
Yes,
we proceed to breakout room
in
3.
India, we are having a number of temples, but compared to that, the wine shops are increasing day by day, and everybody is fashionable. even there is no difference between sex also. Everybody is in the line and getting, especially in the COVID time also, you see so many people in a big queue at the wine shops, and they are very well decorated. And in temples, there is no attendance. A few people are attending. Even our temple at Mangaluru also, morning Aarti, a few people are attending. But in cinema tickets or in the wine shops, there is a lot of queues all there. All these things are in a negative way for the people.
Yes, true. Thank you, Prabhuji. And this last point also very graphic, that some of the blockbuster, it's a recent trend that people are willing to watch shows 24 hours. That means even the film shows are going on in the night, early morning, and people don't mind staying up late till night or waking up early in the morning to go and attend it. But when it comes to welcoming the Lord at the start of the day, we don't see that kind of enthusiasm. So thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis in breakout room 1.
I thank
And
all
now,
the members of my group for their contribution and helping me in this one.
thank you,
Everybody has had ample contribution.
thank you, Prabhuji. Now we will go to breakout room 3 devotees. Who will be the presenter? Hare Krishna. Rati, Radha, Rajeshwari Mataji, Prema Priya Mataji, and other devotees.
I requested Usha Mataji to present. Actually, I've got a very bad throat. I'll
Sure.
try my best. she'll add to me to the
No,
points that I have
let
to.
Usha Mataji present, Mataji. Don't worry, you don't stretch. Okay? They take care, Prema Priya Mataji.
Yeah.
Usha Mataji, Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and devotees. I think group 1 and 2 covered most of the topics that we also discussed, but I will again reiterate those. Group 3 also talked about, countries aiming for nationalistic goals rather than humanistic goals. They were all looking for power and supremacy to fulfill their political goals, So there is total ignorance, there is no knowledge. And earlier, where governance was stressing on, spiritual knowledge being spread, nowadays it is more on, there are no spiritual goals actually. In fact, there is greed, there is avarice, there's selfishness, there's anger, there's vengeance, and it's all to do with fulfilling their egoistical goals, There's also where human mind is being tricked and influenced by advertisements to fulfill all their sense gratification. There are a lot of so-called influencers who are trying to control our minds and see that we fulfill our sense gratification requirements. There are godmen coming up, who are trying to preach things that are not at all godlike. Public health also, there is a lot of illusion there. All these so-called pandemics are being, driven and created. Instead of solving problems are being created, bio warfare and so on. So there is no solution as such to problems, but there are additions to problems. Countries are racing for supremacy, like it was already discussed, space research, economical progress, and everybody believes that might is right. Yeah. So there is total degradation in this yuga. Where technology is concerned, yes, there is progress in leaps and bounds with technology, but we can use it to better outreach programs. It will be so good to reach millions of people who are just sitting in their homes and preach Krishna consciousness to them. So if it is used for positive outcomes, then technology is a very big boon. We can also record all these teachings for posterity, because we don't know how long the goodness is going to last, and we can preserve it for future generations as well. And most of the other points were common to what Group 1 and 2 discussed, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Usha Mataji. And
Thank
we
you,
will just
Prabhu.
pick out a couple of points from what has been mentioned. It is very, very stark contrast that we will see that on one hand, say for example, government wants to implement the welfare schemes, but the Lakshmi, the money that is required for those welfare schemes, one of the greatest sources of taxation are the alcohol products and the tobacco. So one place you are trying to get that Lakshmi from people, in a way encouraging them to further buy and continue using it. And on the other hand, trying to utilize that Lakshmi for the welfare schemes. So this seems contradictory. Similarly, we see that we don't want to take names, but the most powerful nation on the earth today, one of its major source of income is by selling arms and ammunitions to other countries. So it is historically proven that whenever that country is in financial difficulty, they tend to encourage wars just so that their weapon export business will flourish. They can get more and more income. And at that particular cost, the whole world will suffer and will be in turmoil because of wars and etc. So it is very, very sorry state. And this is at the global level. At the local level, we can find the foolish class of people doing some adventure sports and all in the name of adventure sports, putting their lives at danger. And every subsequent adventurer feels that everybody else previous to me, they made some mistake and because of which they lost their life, and I'll take care, I'll be very careful, and I am immortal or I won't meet the same fate. And we find day in and day out such accidents do happen where people are focusing their energy on something which is not at all relevant to the goal of life, what Shukadev Goswami is driving the attention to. So now coming back, thanks everyone for contribution. Now come back to the slides and to the verses. Just give me 1 minute. I will remove the pin. So now in the previous verse, 1 second, Usha Mataji, where can I find you to remove the pin? Yeah. So now coming back to the verses, we find in the previous verse, Shukadev Goswami specifically mentioning about life of self-preservation. And how does that life of self-preservation, we also saw that famous verse 1 to 10 in our last discussion, Kamasya Indriya Priti, that Srimad Bhagavatam does support the life of self-preservation and remaining all of our energy should be focusing on the ultimate goal. What does that life of self-preservation mean? Shukadev Goswami explains text 4 onwards. So this is a very, very important text. Let's go through the text first. Prema Priya Mataji, are you comfortable to recite? Or if not, I can ask other devotees.
I'll recite, Prabhuji.
Only if you are okay. Okay.
I'll try, Prabhuji. Yeah. Satyam kim kashipo prayasait.
Satyam kim kashipo
Kashipa prayashay.
Bahau swasiddhe yapa barhanai klim.
Swasiddhe
upabarhanai kim.
Satyanjalau kim purudhana patrya.
Satyanjalau
kim purudhana patrya.
Digval galadau sati kim dukulaihi.
Digval galadau sati kim dukulaihi.
Thank you, Mataji. So for reading of the English translation purport, we'll request any other devotees so that Mataji's throat is not stretched. Anyone would like to read through?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ishwari, Murari, Priya Mataji, Jagadananda Prabhu, and other devotees, keep your hands on. Rohini Mataji and others, keep your hands on, so I can request you subsequently. Yes, Ishwari, Murari, Priya Mataji.
When there are ample earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of pillow? when one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of varieties of utensils? When there is ample covering or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing?
Thank you. Thank you. So before we go to the purport, here Shukadev Goswami is basically explaining how nature has endowed us, basically, if we see, with all the necessities for basic living. And of course, it doesn't mean that we go back to the primitive living, but we at least acknowledge this particular point that we have been endowed by the Lord and by the nature with every basic necessity to live naturally without any extensive R&D or inventions that are needed to better our material life. And he gives various analogies, including there are so many nice flat beds. Flat beds means simple floors that are available in the caves, etc., which can be used to lie on. What is the necessity of cots and beds? And what is the necessity of a pillow when Krishna has given us a very nice arm which we can use as our pillow to lie down comfortably? And what is the necessity of various utensils to drink water, etc., when we can easily use palms of our hands as a cup to drink water? Or what is the necessity of so many clothes and various type of dresses when the tree barks are available? So at least the principle needs to be understood. We will discuss the purport. Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Purport. The necessities of life for the protection and comfort of body must not be unnecessarily increased. Human energy is spoiled in vain search after such illusory happiness. If one is able to lie down on the floor, then why should one endeavor to get a good bedstead or soft cushion to lie on? If one can rest without any pillow and make use of the soft arm endowed by nature, there is no necessity of searching after a pillow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Only highlight.
Yeah, we'll take a pause. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that whatever overall energy in our life is granted to us by God and by the nature, it is limited. So it is up to us how much part of that particular energy we want to route for self-preservation, to manage our day-to-day needs. And the more energy we spend to manage our day-to-day needs, lesser amount of energy will be available for us to pursue our ultimate goal of life. So ultimately, whatever total duration, overall, what is the capacity of our body to work is fixed. It is up to us how much of that energy we want to use for self-preservation, how much of that energy we want to utilize to pursue the ultimate goal of life. And there are various wonderful examples from the modern contemporary life that I have tried to mention here. We will go through these examples. Maybe we cover the rest of the purport highlights. Yes, Mataji, highlighted part.
This does not mean that human civilization should revert to animal life or that the human being should live naked in the jungles without any culture, education, and sense of morality. An intelligent human cannot live the life of an animal. Rather, man should try to utilize his intelligence in arts and science, poetry, and philosophy in such a way he can further the progressive march of human civilization. But here the idea given by Srila Sukadeva Goswami is that the reserve energy of human life, which is far superior to that of animals, should simply be utilized for self-realization. Advancement of human civilization must be towards the goal of establishing our lost relationship with God, which is not possible in any form of life other than the human. One must realize the nullity of the material phenomenon, considering it a passing phantasmagoria and must endeavor to make a solution to the miseries of life. Great
Thank you.
sages and saints in the days of yore were not living in palatial buildings furnished with good furniture and so-called amenities of life. They used to live in huts and groves and sit on the flat ground, and yet they have left immense treasures of high knowledge with all perfection. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami were high-ranking ministries of state, but they were able to leave behind them immense writings on transcendental knowledge. When residing only for one night underneath one tree, they did not live even 2 nights under the same tree. And what to speak of well-furnished rooms with modern amenities? And still they were able to give us most important literature of self-realization. So-called comforts of life are not actually helpful for progressive civilization. Rather, they are detrimental to such progressive life. In the system of Sanatana Dharma, of 4 divisions of social life and 4 orders of progressive realization, there are ample opportunities and sufficient directions for a happy termination of the progressive life, and the sincere followers are advised therein to accept a voluntary life of renunciation in order to achieve the desired goal of life. If one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from the beginning, one should try to get into the habit at the later stage of life as recommended by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and that will help one to achieve the desired success. Hare
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So here it is mentioned that there have been so many great sages who, despite having resources at their disposal, they did not go for a life of great comfort, but they basically went to fulfill their bodily necessities, their self-preservation with the minimum spent energy, and maximum of their energy they did focus on pursuing the ultimate goal of life. And one of the very famous example is the spiritual master of our own founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. So as we have discussed this example earlier, maybe we'll try to go bit specific details into this. How Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, before he started his preaching mission, which was establishing the Gaudiya Math institution in Calcutta, how Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur prepared himself, and it was a very strenuous tapasya that he underwent. Let's go through the details. So I would request some of the devotees. Yes, this one. Reena Mataji, Hare Krishna. Please unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So you can start with the information Mataji during 1905.
Prabhuji, can you increase the font a little bit?
Okay, fine. 1 second. Is it better? Or
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Information. During 1905, at age 31, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati took a vow to chant daily at least 3 lakh holy names and monthly at least 10 million until he had chanted 1 billion names. He chanted on a japamala given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, who had himself used them to fulfill a vow of chanting 1 billion holy names. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati's Shatakoti Nama Yagna, which he performed before a deity of Lord Chaitanya, lasted just over 9 years and 4 months and was punctuated by much struggle and several colorful incidents, including attempts to oust him from Mayapur. Yet he was determined to continue service there no matter what. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati cleared an overgrown area at the Yoga Pita and made a grass hut in which he lived from 1905 to 1909 amid his many books and manuscripts. Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava, Volume 1 by His Holiness Bhakti Vikasa Swami, chapter pre-sannyasa period, page 38 to 39. Shall
Thank
I
you.
continue, Prabhuji?
We'll take a pause here. So we see the main reason for taking pause is the attention span of devotees is very short. So while you are still focused, I just want to give some critical data so that the point is clear. So for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it is mentioned that when he took this vow to chant 1 billion names, which translates to around 100 crore names of Shri Radha and Krishna, in order to prepare himself for the preaching mission, he did not go for extensive arrangements to live comfortably, etc. He just built a thatched hut near Yoga Pit and lived there. And it is mentioned specifically in Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaja's book on Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that whenever in Mayapur, as you know, in Bengal, because it is a coastal state, it rains very heavily. And in specifically Mayapur, the Ganges, they always overflood during monsoons and all. So it used to rain heavily, and that thatched hut, the water used to drip and fall on the head of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he used to sit holding an umbrella over his head. He did not even bother fixing those holes in the thatched hut. And the breakdown of exact sankalpa that he had taken a sankalpa for chanting 1 billion names, which is 10 to the power 9, or it translates to 100 crores. So 1 Mahamantra has 16 names. So 1 billion names translates to around 6.25 crore Mahamantras, which translates to around 578,000 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and which translates to around almost 174 rounds daily, and which Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to take about 14.5 hours to complete his daily quota of chanting. And like that, he maintained his daily routine for not 1 day or 2 days, but 9+ years. It took him more than 9 years to fulfill this particular vow. So coming back to the point we were discussing, that such great sages, and we are not taking a very grand old example, we are taking example of somebody as recent as 100 years back, Srila Prabhupada's own spiritual master. They spent a major part of energy that Krishna had endowed them with in focusing on the real goal of life, while giving minimal priority for the self-preservation. Of course, we cannot imitate them, but we can definitely understand the example, how major part of our energy should be routed towards pursuing the ultimate goal of life. I have also tried to give examples of few devotees who are living even now. I have specifically not stated their names because I have not taken their express permissions. Plus, we don't want to embarrass them. We just want to understand the point. I had seen one devotee when I was in Amsterdam, and this particular Mataji, what she had done is, these are all places very expensive, London, Amsterdam, Toronto, and so on and so forth, very expensive to live. So what this Mataji had done, each and every furniture within her home, she had decorated her home very beautifully, but in a very, very simplistic manner. And on one particular set of furnitures, she had put a very, very nice setup, which was exactly like Vrindavan setup, like we create sometimes during Govardhan Puja and all. We create Govardhan, Shyamkund, Radhakund, and all the forest and holy places in Vrindavan, and we showcase them on a table. So Mataji had done that particular setup in her home on that simple set of furniture. And I asked her, like, I basically appreciated how nicely I had gone to attend a particular program with devotees, and she mentioned, and she also happens to be many of your god sister. She is the disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And she mentioned not a single piece of furniture she has purchased from outside. So in European countries and many other Western countries, many people when they don't need a particular item, either electronic item or a furniture item, they simply keep it outside their home, outside their apartment, and whoever wants it can take it. So this particular Mataji had taken the discarded furniture, which are in good shape. They are not in bad shape when they are discarded. But she had taken those discarded set of furnitures and had herself created a beautiful home and the furniture setup to remember Krishna and to remind Krishna, whoever is visiting her home, that would remind them also of Krishna. And she had focused a major part of her energy in calling the devotees for programs, in feeding them prasadam. So I was amazed that in a place like Amsterdam, where maximum number of people are paying almost 40 to 45% of their income towards income taxes, working so long hours a day to sustain themselves, here is a devotee who knows that humans' life should be focused towards pursuing the ultimate goal. So there the maximum energy should be spent and not in managing our day-to-day self-preservation. Similarly, there is a devotee from ISKCON Mangaluru congregation. Again, I don't want to take name, but many of you probably already know her name. This particular Mataji, I had a chat with her. She works in an engineering college, and when she got in touch with devotees, Namanishta Prabhu and other devotees, she got so inspired with this life of Krishna consciousness. And she, by Krishna, Guru and Krishna's grace, she felt such taste in chanting that she intimated to the college that I want to resign. And they were shocked. She is basically training and placement head. So they were shocked. Why do you want to resign? She said, because I want to devote more time for Krishna. And somehow Krishna as a Paramatma gave them that inspiration that this lady, a single mother, she wants to pursue one particular part of her life. She wants to basically pursue Krishna consciousness and is willing to even give up her job. Then says it that you are very efficient in your work. Let's agree in between. So what they agreed that they would reduce the salary slightly, and in turn they would reduce the working hours so that she has sufficient time of the day to practice her daily sadhana. And this Mataji, she took it as an arrangement of God, and she told me, like, basically this particular Mataji chants 64 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every single day. And I asked her, tell me the breakdown of your day. How do you manage? Because I felt as a working person, it must be so difficult and demanding. And she said, she gave me an exact breakdown of when she finishes her 16 rounds, 32 rounds, 48 rounds, and remaining 16 rounds out of 64 rounds that she daily practices. And along with that, she is a mother of a teenager girl who must have finished her 12th now. So that means she has her duty as a mother. And she also has her own old mother to take care of. So while we don't want to go into the details of the person in terms of name, etc., point is, we can definitely take inspiration from such devotees who show us by their own examples how maximum part of the energy that Krishna has blessed us with, it should be focused towards pursuing the ultimate goal. And whatever is needed for self-preservation, it should be bare minimum. Anyone has any question, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, on this particular point that Shukadev Goswami is driving? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, if someone like a neophyte devotee, if he goes through this verse and they can challenge the devotees like who are practicing, and they can say that why don't you also live in this way, right? So what should be our answer, Prabhu, for this?
Yeah, so very nice question, practical question. First of all, we should tell that particular person that he or she can really challenge devotees, at least when he or she comes to the practice what devotees are practicing, which is minimum chanting of 16 rounds daily. At least that is the first step, because Srila Prabhupada did not mention renunciation as the first step in Krishna consciousness. So that is one thing. Secondly, all these criteria for renunciation, focusing one's life energy towards ultimate goal, that is being mentioned by Shukadev Goswami for a very for one who wants to advance to the next level, as it will be clear in the subsequent verses. These criteria are mentioned for a yogi who wants to pursue Paramatma realization, who wants to achieve that level of goal in his or her life. So that is not meant for any ordinary personality. This is one. And third, now, does it mean that it is not applicable for devotees? Definitely it is applicable. Like we saw, even for the Ashtanga yogis, part of their practice, like Mataji, you had asked same question, that part of their practice is even applicable for devotees. The yama, niyama, pranayam, asana, dharana, these are applicable even for devotees in their devotional life. So we can tell those people that first they at least come to the requisite initial part of surrender which a devotee is already exhibiting. And secondly, if one is in class 1 or class 5 or class 10 in a school life, doesn't mean that there is no class or level as PhD. So what is mentioned is at the level of PhD, at least that ideal we should know. We may be in class 5, we may be in class 1, but if we know the ideals, then we know how to work towards it gradually. Is that all right, Shama Gopika Mataji?
Yeah, okay, Prabhu. Yeah.
So even if a devotee is not at that particular platform, these are the highest platform of renunciation that is mentioned. And Srila Prabhupada clarifies in the purport that it need not be taken literally, like wearing tree bark doesn't mean that we go to primitive civilization. Prabhupada says it doesn't mean we go back to the animal life. It means that at least that principle should be imbibed, that we lead a life of self-preservation and good part of our energy we do reserve. Prabhupada uses the word reserve in the purport. Let me just show that. Can anyone help me? Yeah, here. But here, the idea given by Srila Shukadev Goswami is that the reserve energy of human life, what do we mean by reserve? Reserve means whatever bare minimum spent for self-preservation, everything else is a reserve. That should be spent for pursuing the higher goal of life. It should simply be utilized for self-realization. Is that all right? Prabhuji, Mataji, Shama Gopika Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, and all these examples that I gave an example of a very ideal Acharya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as well as I gave the example from the contemporary life. Like this particular Mataji I was referring to from ISKCON Mangaluru congregation. She told me, but Prabhu, I do need to make certain compromises, but Krishna is merciful that he is managing with it. I said, like what? She said, like, because I am chanting so many number of rounds in a day, I have very little time left for everything else. So when I cook and when I offer to Krishna, I make a very simple offering. I don't like really have a 7-course bhoga offering prasadam for Krishna because I'm not left with that much time. But we are happy having that simple food. Secondly, even in terms of accepting any guest at home and all, she has a very rigorous schedule where she goes to bed at around 8:30 max, so that she is able to get up by 2:30, 3 o'clock to start her daily rigorous sadhana. So point is, definitely these devotees also have challenges, but the great part is how they have molded their life to give a better part of their energy reserve towards self-realization. That is definitely that we can appreciate. Any other questions, Prabhujis, Matajis? Hare Krishna. All right. So in reference to this, there comes another story of a great Rishi, and should I describe or should we read? I think I will just describe in order to save time. So there is a great story of Rishi Romasha Muni, and he happens to be a great personality. So this particular story comes one time when Lord Krishna wanted to teach some renunciation to his another devotee, but he is a Sakama devotee, Lord Indra. He wants to enjoy also. So what happened was, after one of the battle between the Devatas and the Daityas, when the Devatas came out victorious, Lord Indra wanted to better the facilities in his life, and he wanted to renovate his palace. And for renovation, he called the architect of the demigods, Vishwakarma. And he was not simply letting him go. Vishwakarma was forced to stay there by Indra to complete the renovation part. And he basically wanted to go back to his abode and continue with his duties. So Lord Vishnu appeared there, and he made an arrangement for a very special sage called Romasha Muni to come over there. And Romasha Muni, basically he is a very oldie in terms of he has a long life. It is mentioned that his lifespan is even more than Brahma and so on and so forth. But let's try to focus on the principle. So the Lord inquired from the sage, "Tell me, great sage, what is the reason for this curious phenomena on your chest?" So basically, the Lord saw hairs on the chest of this particular sage, but there was a patch which was bald, where there were no hairs. So Krishna inquired to sage Romasha about this. And then the sage replied, "At the end of every cosmic annihilation," the Muni replied, "one Indra dies. And when one Indra dies, one of these hairs falls out. So when all the hairs have fallen out, then I will be able to go back to Vaikuntha." So his lifespan is very long, Romasha Muni. "And what is the reason for this umbrella?" Vishnu further inquired. The sage answered, "I see no necessity for making any sort of permanent home here, because my stay in this material world is short. I simply carry this umbrella. This is my home." So for a person like Romasha Muni, whose lifespan is so long, one hair on his body is equivalent to the lifespan of Lord Indra. Then, even such a personality, he feels that he has a very short period of time to live. So he should focus his energy on self-realization and not waste it in building a permanent home and etc. So if such a long living sage feels so, then what should be our understanding, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Of course, we don't want to drive and all that to live in jungle, but we definitely want to drive this particular point, that major part of our energy, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, should be focused on pursuing the ultimate goal of life. And whatever is required for self-preservation, of course, it should be our personal judgment, but it should not be major part of our energy. Is this example clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Any question on this? Hare Krishna. Yeah, here I have. So in the last part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes in the text 4 purport, if one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from the beginning, one should try to get into the habit at least at a later stage of life. At least. Okay, that word I am adding, that if not at the beginning, minimum while our senses are still working, each one of us, we must get trained in the life of renunciation. And that life of renunciation need not exactly be sannyasa ashram, because all of us, we may not be qualified for that. But one step before the sannyasa ashram, which is the vanaprastha ashram. Any one of you tell me, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, where did we find this point earlier as well in our learnings? We found this point few times, that one should not spend whole of one's life living at home. One should dedicate a part of one's life when the senses are working to get a training in renunciation. Anyone?
When Vidura visited Dhritarashtra.
Yes, Mataji, that is one particular point. What else? Let me ask devotees who have not spoken at all. Divya Rukmini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I remember that that Mataji told that Vidura is talking to his brother. That is the one I remember. That other one I don't remember, Prabhu.
Okay, no. No problem. Other devotees, Rati Pradha Rajeshwari Mataji, Gunavati Mataji, Mamta Mataji, P.S. Murthy Prabhu, Rajiv Mukh Prabhu, and other devotees. Sanjukta Mataji. We had seen this particular point. Is Mahesh Prabhu there in the meeting? No, Mahesh Prabhu is not in. All of you remember the chapter Pandavas retire timely? Yes, Prabhuji's Mataji?
Yes,
There,
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
there also Srila Prabhupada stresses this particular point, that one should not spend his or her whole life in till the death in being engaged in household life, but at a timely manner. And by timely manner, Srila Prabhupada specifies by 50 years of age we should have completed our basic responsibilities. Does it mean that we leave our home? Not at all. That is not the criteria. But at least at that particular time, we reduce our engagements in managing the family affairs and spend a major part of our energy, focus the major part of our energy in preparing ourselves for the next life, which is taking more services, reducing the time for self-preservation, increasing the time for service to Krishna. That should be the practice. And here I have mentioned on the slide that there are so many centers within ISKCON where there is a dedicated program to train the devotees for Vanaprastha ashram. Sannyasi is not recommended for all, but Vanaprastha is definitely recommended for everyone. Okay. And one example I have mentioned, like where I stay in Pune, there is some setup called as BVS, Bhakti Vedanta Vanaprastha Services. So similar to, we have target audience preaching, say we have youth preaching, we have college preaching, we have children's preaching. Similar to that, there is also a preaching setup existing here for devotees who are approaching 50. So they have kept a age group 45 to 60, for which I am still slightly younger than that. But that doesn't stop us from making sure that are we on the right path? Are we doing the things which are recommended as per Srimad Bhagavatam for each level of our age group? Very simple. All of you agree, understand this, appreciate this particular point, Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Yes,
That
Prabhuji.
Yes,
why,
Prabhuji.
why it is important to learn renunciation at the right stage. Here Srila Prabhupada says one should try to get into a habit at a later stage of life as recommended by Sri Shukadev Goswami, and that will help one to achieve the desired success. And of course, I didn't get exact photo for a Vanaprastha, so I have put here photo of another great personality, Mrugari, who subsequently gave up his worldly life, and he was managing his household responsibilities but being totally dedicated to the instruction of his Guru Maharaj. So that photo I have put on the right hand side. Any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Can we proceed to the next verse? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so just one request, whoever is reading the purport, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, take a break, take a pause whenever the section is ending so that we don't miss out on important points. Otherwise, what happens when we read the complete purport, because our focus span is less, either you as an audience will forget some important point, or I as a speaker can forget any important point for that section. Okay, so let's recite text number 5. Who wants to recite? Hare Krishna. Reena Mataji, you want to recite? Okay,
Hare Krishna.
okay. Let me request some devotee who have not recited or spoken. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Text 5.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Chirani kim pati nasanti. 1 minute, Prabhuji. Chirani kim pati nasanti dishanti bhiksham. Is anybody repeating? Naivan kripa parabrita sarito api asusyan.
Gripa Parabrata Sarito Ashusha.
Ruddha Griha Kim Ajito Avati Nopasannaan.
Ruddha Grihan Kim Ajito
Kasmad Bhajanti Kavayo Dhanadurmadandhan.
Kasmat bhajanti kavayo
One second. Before we go to the translation, let us check some important words from the verse itself. Chirani kim pathina shanti dishanti bhiksham. So here Shukadev Goswami is asking Maharaj Parikshit that that means Shukadev Goswami is appreciating or focusing the path of renunciation even while managing the life of self-preservation. So how it is practical, Shukadev Goswami is trying to elaborate in this particular verse. Chirani kim pati, that you might question Maharaj Parikshit that for self-preservation we have basic necessities including the food, clothing, shelter, etc. So as far as clothing is concerned, aren't the discarded clothes that are no more in use by people in general, aren't they available which one can wash? And of course these are very highest standard of renunciation, so don't mistake Prabhujis and Matajis that it is impractical. At least we should know the principle. How do we apply that principle? That may differ, but principle definitely holds good. Okay, so aren't the torn clothes that are discarded by people which are no more in use existing, which one can wash and take care of our clothing? We don't have to bother too much. Secondly, naivangripa. Angripa means those living entities which take their food through their feet, namely the trees, which take their food through the roots that grow downwards. So naivangripa parabrita saritopi ashushan, that have the trees stopped giving the fruits, my dear Parikshit? So does it not include into edibles? Definitely. For eatables food, we have the fruits giving, trees giving fruits. Similarly, saritopya ashushan, as far as the thirst, the water need is concerned, have the river stopped supplying water, my dear Parikshit? Ruddha guha, and you might say that food, clothing, and shelter. For shelter, we still need to endeavor to make a house. Then have the guhas, have the caves that are there in the mountains, they have all gone, my dear Maharaj Parikshit. And finally, Shukadev Goswami concludes by saying, Ajito Vati Nopasannan, and that person who is ultimately one responsible for providing all the necessities of life, Ajita, Lord Krishna, has he stopped taking care of the surrendered souls, my dear Parikshit? So if Krishna has not stopped taking care of the surrendered souls, if the trees have not stopped giving fruits, if the rivers have not stopped giving clean source of water, if the caves have not stopped giving shelter to the saintly persons, and if the torn clothes, discarded clothes are no more available on the road, then why do you think, Maharaj Parikshit, that this life with minimum energy spent on self-preservation is not possible? Definitely it is possible, because all these basic necessities of life are already arranged by the Lord, and specifically for one who is upasannan, who is completely surrendered soul to the Lord, Krishna will definitely take care of him or her. Kasmad bhajanti kavayo dhana dhurma dhandan. Dandhan. So, why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by the high earned wealth? That means we don't need to flatter the rich people, my dear Parikshit, to get our daily bread and butter. As a renunciate, he is telling about himself that these surrendered souls are well taken care by Krishna, and whatever they need to survive, to keep the body and soul together, is already arranged by the Lord. We don't need to flatter the Grahamedis. We don't need to flatter the materialistic people for our own survival. Okay, let's go through these are beautiful set of verses, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. So at your leisure, please do go through the detail. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, translation.
Yeah, only the highlighted portion, Prabhuji.
Translation, you can read the complete one.
Yeah, okay, Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Krishna Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity? Do the rivers being dried up no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard-earned wealth? Should we continue?
So yeah, we'll take a pause. So meaning for a surrendered devotee, there is no need to do the flattering for the worldly materialistic man to get his living. Krishna properly takes care of surrendered souls. I have shortlisted few examples to show on the slide. We'll go through the purport first. Purport, Mataji, you can start from the beginning and we'll take pause in between.
Okay, yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna purport. The renounced order of life is never meant for begging or living at the cost of others as a parasite. According to the dictionary, a parasite is a psychopath who lives at the cost of society without making any contribution to that society. The renounced order is meant for contributing something.
1 second, Mataji, we'll take an example here. I have made some notes. Yes. So when the temple started at Chowpatty in 1988, so gradually, because of the purity of devotees and lifestyle, people started coming in. So there was a discussion amongst the devotees to start fundraising department. But the leader for this particular temple, he clearly told the devotees, we don't want a fundraising department. We should have a friend raising. That means whenever our devotees go out to preach, they should never have the mentality that I want to get something from this person in terms of charity, etc. Our mentality should always be giving, that I want to give Krishna to others. And if they accept Krishna in their life, that is the success of our endeavors. And once these people accept Krishna in their life, if Paramatma within the heart inspires them to contribute something, to give something, then we will route their energy, route the contribution from those well-wishers to maintain the temple. But getting charity, getting Lakshmi from society in general is not our primary goal of life as the movement. Our goal of life, our mission in life in terms of preaching Krishna consciousness is to give Krishna to others. And if people accept Krishna, that is the success of our mission. And we see even in ISKCON Mangalore, Prabhuji has been, like as we mentioned last time, we never ask for Lakshmi as the first thing. We try to give Krishna in terms of so many of these courses which are held totally free. And then if the person feels inspired by, then the temple facilitates that contribution. But that Lakshmi is never asked upfront as a fees, as a upfront contribution. That should be our mood while giving Krishna. Yes, Mataji, the renounced order.
Yeah, the renounced order is meant for contributing something substantial to society and not depending on the earnings of the householders. On the contrary, acceptance of alms from the householders by the bona fide mendicant is an opportunity afforded by the same for the tangible benefit of the donor. In the Sanatana Dharma institution, alms giving to the mendicants is part of a householder's duty, and it is advised in the scriptures that the householders should treat the mendicants as their family children and should provide them with food, clothing, etc. without being asked. Should we continue?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Pseudo-mendicants therefore should not take advantage of the charitable disposition of the faithful householders. The first duty of a person in the renounced order of life is to contribute some literary work for the benefit of the human being in order to give him realized direction towards self-realization. Amongst the other duties in the renounced order of life of Srila Sanatana, Srila Rupa, and the other Goswamis of Vrindavana, the foremost duty discharged by them was to hold learned discourses among themselves at SEVA Kunja, Vrindavana, the spot where Sri Radha Damodara temple was established by Srila Jiva Goswami and where the actual Samadhi tombs of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami are laid. For the benefit of all the humans, for the benefit of all in human society, they left behind them immense literatures of transcendental importance.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying the foremost duty of a transcendentalist is to give Krishna, and to give Krishna in the form of literatures, in the form of spiritual knowledge, etc. And only after that, charity from his side. That means he has not gone to beg the charity, he has gone to give the charity to the householders. And what is that charity, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? The knowledge of Krishna, the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, the scriptures, the writings. That knowledge is what excuse me. So that knowledge about Krishna is what a transcendentalist should give as his first and foremost duty. And only after that is given, then only he is allowed to accept something from the householder as a mutual gesture of appreciation in the form of either charity, in the form of either prasadam, in the form of bhiksha, like what Shukadev Goswami used to accept in the form of some small quantity of milk. So rest of the purport, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, let me just check. Yeah, here it is mentioned, however, those who cannot give any contribution. So if such a preacher of Krishna consciousness cannot give any contribution from his side in terms of giving Krishna, giving knowledge, then he should not accept anything in return, including food, etc. That is not allowed. So accepting something from the householders without giving Krishna is karmically binding. So that is not allowed as per Srimad Bhagavatam. They should not go to the householders for food. For such mendicants, asking bread from the householders are an insult to the highest order. So sannyasis going to beg charity without giving Krishna is not proper, and Srila Prabhupada is completely refuting it in Srimad Bhagavatam purport. Just give me 1 minute. Yes. Now, first quality we saw, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what was the first quality, first duty of a renunciate? Yes, which we just saw.
Give knowledge.
Yes, give knowledge to the householders. What is the next duty or next characteristic is mentioned in the next highlighted part? You can read the highlighted part, Mataji. When a man.
Yes, Prabhuji. When a man becomes a mendicant willfully or by circumstances, he must be of firm faith and conviction that the Supreme Lord is the maintainer of all living beings everywhere in the universe. Why then would he neglect the maintenance of a surrendered soul who is a sent person engaged in the service of the Lord? A common master looks to the necessities of his servant. So how much more would the all-powerful, all-opulent Supreme Lord look after the necessities of life for a fully surrendered soul?
Thank you, Madam. So let us see where Srila Prabhupada is driving our attention to. Like, this is a very famous verse which comes in Jaiva Dharma by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it is also quoted in various other scriptures, including Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you can recite the verse.
Yes, Prabhuji. Anukulyasya sankalpaha. Shall I continue reading?
Continue.
Pratikulasya varja. I think it should be Pratikulasya, Prabhuji, or Pratikulasya.
Yeah, Pratikulasya.
Pratikulasya. Pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyatiti vishvaso goptritve varanam tata आत्मनिक्षेप कार्पण्ये सद्विधा शरणागतिः. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.100. The six divisions of the surrendered are the acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, the rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master, full self-surrender and humility. The example from Contemporary World Traveling Sankirtan Party.
Thank you, Mataji. So before we go to the example, let us try to go bit deep into detail for line number 2. Rakshi ishati vishwaso goptrutve varanam tatha. That the saintly person, the renunciate, first duty is to give Krishna before accepting anything from the householder. Second duty is to have that conviction that Krishna will definitely protect and maintain his surrendered soul. The Lord is one's guardian and master. This faith must be there in a renunciate. And on the right hand side, all the photos that are shown, what is the common thread, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, according to you? What is common in these photos?
Surrender.
Surrender.
Yes, very nice. So we see surrender of various personalities, including Sri Sanatan and Rupa Goswami, who approached Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the straw in their teeth. That means considering them as totally unqualified, like a straw on the street. Similarly, second photo, we see the surrender of Draupadi, where initially she was trying to hold her sari using her own strength. But when she found that Dushyasan was so powerful that her strength was nothing in front of him, she totally surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna provided her with unlimited supply of cloth, protecting her chastity. In the third photo, we see Prahlad Maharaj, despite having so many attempts on his life made from his father's side, he is completely surrendered to Lord Vishnu. If he wants to protect me, he can protect. If he wants to have me killed, let him have me killed. So, point is, such a surrendered soul, second duty or responsibility for a renunciate is to have that conviction that Krishna is my protector, maintainer, and he will definitely give me protection and maintenance if he so desires. Having that faith upon Krishna is the second characteristic of a renunciate. An example I have mentioned here is, as of today, such devotees are there, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, in the world. I have mentioned the example of a very beautiful, wonderful set of devotees called Traveling Sankirtan Party. Let me just show you the page. I have subscribed to their YouTube channel. Are you able to see the YouTube page, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
this is a wonderful group of devotees, brahmachari devotees. They preach somewhere in Andhra and Telangana, and I many a times watch their videos just to feel inspired on this particular point. How this totally depend on Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. What do? They have a geographical area planned for a particular week or for a particular fortnight, and they will go to that, say for example a district or a group of 2 or 3 districts, for example. They will go town to town, city to city, village to village, without even knowing that where they are going to have their lodging or boarding arrangements for the night. And by Krishna's grace, every place they go to, somebody or other well-wisher offers them a shelter for the night, and they cook their own prasadam, they cook their own food, offer it to the photo of Shri Radha Krishna what they are carrying, and they devote rest of the energy for the day in conducting Harinam Sankirtan, in performing book distribution, and in conducting various preaching programs. So this is traveling Sankirtan party, and you can see the YouTube channel at your leisure. You will feel so inspired that such devotees, we can see that they are completely depending on Krishna. They don't know where they are going to get place to reside to spend their night, where they are going to get their next meal in the form of prasadam. Wherever the facilities would exist, only there they can take their halt. And by Krishna's grace, they don't go without food. By Krishna is providing, Krishna is arranging for them their night shelter at night, so that they are not left without shelter. So point is, this particular quality is the second important quality for a renunciate. What is that verse? Raksha iti vishwaso, that one must have solid faith that Krishna will surely protect. Goptrutve varanam tatha, that Krishna will surely maintain us. We should have that complete faith. That is the second characteristic. Any question, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. So far? Sorry, it took us a bit long to go, but these are very important points.
Prabhuji, earlier that there's a reference there, the dried rivers dried up. How can they give water, Prabhuji? That I couldn't follow.
That is a question he's asking. That means, my dear brother Maharaj Parikshit, that there are still rivers which are providing water. So he's asking all these questions in a question manner, that aren't there rivers which are providing water? Aren't there torn, discarded clothes still available that are not no more used by people? Aren't there trees which are still supplying fruits? Aren't there caves which are still giving shelter? Has Lord Krishna stopped giving shelter to the surrendered souls? So all these questions are asked, meaning there are still all these arrangements made by Krishna for a surrendered soul to survive by himself or herself. That is the point, Mataji. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, the dried up rivers, how that I couldn't follow that dried rivers.
Yeah, so the point
Once
is,
the rivers are dried.
no, he's saying, have the rivers dried, that they are not providing water? That means there are still rivers which are providing the potable waters. That is the conclusion.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
So all these
Yeah.
are asked in a question format to explain that a renunciate can still maintain his self-preservation, focus his energy on achieving Krishna while sparing minimum energy for self-preservation. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Any other question, Prabhuji's, Mataji? If not, we proceed. So rest part, I think you all can read at your leisure, because ideally I wanted to cover till text 12. So in the last part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that sometimes one might need to share the residence with some wild animals like snakes, etc. And Prabhupada gives the example of Srila Haridas Thakur. He says that this comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Srila Haridas Thakur used to live in a cave outside the places, like I remember Benapol and Fulia Gram, where Srila Haridas Thakur used to reside outside those towns and the villages. And one time he was residing in a cave, and it so happened that one of the other resident of that cave happened to be a snake. But Srila Haridas Thakur was such a gentleman, such a surrendered devotee. He did not drive out that snake outside the cave. He used to cohabitate that particular cave. And people who wanted to come associate with Srila Haridas Thakur and get knowledge of Krishna consciousness from him, they were very afraid to come to the cave because of the snake living there. And when Srila Haridas Thakur felt that his service to Krishna is being impacted, people are not able to approach him, then he decided to move out of that cave. But as soon as Srila Haridas Thakur decided to move out of that cave, Krishna as a Paramatma inspired that particular snake to abandon that cave and leave it for Srila Haridas Thakur. And thus, people could come to Haridas Thakur and get his association and benefit. So that is example Srila Prabhupada gives. So according to the regulations of Sanatan Dharma institution, one is trained from the beginning to depend fully on the protection of the Lord in all circumstances. So here one note I have mentioned. Let us see what is that note. Yeah, traveling Sankirtan party we saw. Second is also in many temples, especially in ISKCON Chowpat example I've given, that those devotees who want to join as Brahmachari ashram, there is a 1 year solid training. And out of that 1 year training, 2 months period is dedicated where those devotees, they need to travel similar to what we saw, that traveling Sankirtan party, take a particular geographical area to cover, and over those 2 months period they would simply distribute books and will have it as the sole source of maintenance. That means they won't have a proper lodge booked for them to stay at night and all. They would be taught learning depending on Krishna, how to depend on Krishna. They would learn firsthand. And why? Because for a brahmachari, for a renunciate, it is very, very important to have that faith that avashya rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will surely protect. If that faith is missing, then a person, a renounced person, he cannot succeed in his pursuit. So this is one of the method which temple employs. And finally, Srila Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying how it is very important for a human, any human for that matter, not just renunciate, to inculcate, to develop, to build all these Daivi Sampat. Daivi Sampat means spiritual assets, like giving Krishna to others, only then accepting something, depending on Krishna, having faith that Krishna will surely protect and maintain. All these are Daivi Sampat. Daivi Sampat means spiritual assets. For one who wants to succeed in his or her life, should cultivate these Daivi Sampat. If we don't do that, Prabhupada warns that Asuri Sampat, that means Asuric qualities, demoniac qualities, they will take us over. They will overwhelm us. And Srila Prabhupada is specifically talking about renunciates, a sannyasi. He must have this faith that Krishna is always accompanying me. So here in the notes I have mentioned how Srila Prabhupada, whenever he used to write in his writings, he used to refer to we rather than I. Like, I'll give you an example. Say about that particular verse, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, where it is mentioned that a yogi who is incomplete in his perfection, he still gets birth in the family of a pious or in the devotee's family. In that particular purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that based on this principle, we were also fortunate to get our birth in the house of a devotee, Gaur Mohan Dey. And he mentions about his spiritual master as well, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how he got his birth in such a devotional family as Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So why does Srila Prabhupada use the word we instead of I? I was very curious. And without asking anyone, one time a devotee himself clarified to me. He's a very senior devotee in devotee congregation in Singapore. His Grace Sudarshan Prabhu, Shama Gopika Mataji and devotees there know. So Prabhuji mentioned that what is the meaning of referring to ourselves as we and not I? He says we means I and Krishna. So we have acknowledged your reception, Prabhu. We will come to your home. What does it mean? Of course, you can say that we means me and my family. But for a renunciate, we means he and Krishna. So because such a person never feels himself separated from Krishna, he always feels presence of Lord Krishna with him or her. And that's why such a person, Srila Prabhupada BC, refers as we while referring to himself. That means I and Krishna. Is this clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is it
Yes,
too
Prabhu.
Yes,
is
Prabhuji.
today's session okay, or was it too heavy?
Was good, Prabhuji.
Very
In
nice,
fact,
Prabhuji.
It's very definitely it is practical. Trust me, if it was only for renunciates and not practical for others, Shukadev Goswami won't give it. He knows Srimad Bhagavatam is going to benefit everybody in the Kali Yuga. So that portion is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. That means even we now, at least that principle should be understood. How it can be applied, we have to decide our case by case basis. That would differ slightly here and there, but the principle holds true.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this just one question. Like what do we mean by Daivi Sampath here? Is it the transcendental qualities that a renunciant should have?
Yeah, the transcendental qualities which have been uh, mentioned by Shukadev Goswami, we should accumulate that.
We have seen like two qualities today, right, Prabhu?
Yes,
From the
two qualities, and specifically I have also mentioned one verse which I forgot to show. Let me just go 1 second. Yeah, what is the Daivi Sampath chapter, Prabhuji's Mataji's chapter number
6.5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
16,
it's
chapter 16 of
yeah.
Bhagavad Gita, which is Daivi and Asuri Sampath, the divine and demoniac nature. That is the title of the chapter. So in that particular chapter, when Krishna starts describing the Daivi Sampath, the spiritual qualities, spiritual assets, what is the first quality, Shama Gopika Mataji?
yeah,
Abhayam.
Yeah.
Yes,
Abhayam. Sri Bhagavan
Yes.
Uvacha, Abhayam Tattva Samshuddhir. So Abhayam, what does Abhayam mean?
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness. And if we go to the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that fearlessness is nothing but what we saw in the purport in Srimad Bhagavatam, that Krishna will definitely protect. That should be the conviction of a devotee. So that is also one of the Daivi Sampath. That is also one of the spiritual asset or transcendental quality. We should try to imbibe all these transcendental qualities or spiritual assets what are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, part of which is covered by Shukadev Goswami. Is that all right, Shama Gopika Mataji?
Okay, Prabhu. And so we have like discussed today two qualities, right, Prabhu? One is
Or a
like
renunciate.
give knowledge of Krishna, and the second one is to have the faith that Krishna will protect us in all circumstances.
Yes,
Okay.
Mataji.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank
And
you.
just one point. First is to give knowledge of Krishna, and only then accept something. So how do we interpret, like, say, for example, if any of the devotee well-wisher person is inviting me or inviting any one of you to his or her home, then we should make sure that we don't just enjoy the feast and come. We try to give Krishna, either conduct 5 minutes, 10 minutes kirtan. We try to speak from some verse. So we give first and only then we accept. If that person is not willing to accept, then we don't accept. We don't accept for free, for sure. We try to give first. Is that all right?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I think I took a bit long today to cover the verses. Apologies for that, because I wanted to cover minimum 5-6 more verses. But fine, let us cover next time. We'll start with text 6. We'll stop here. Any questions, queries, Prabhuji's, Mataji's from what we discussed? Hare Krishna. Any other?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just a reminder of the announcement of the challenge.
Yes, Mataji. Rasarangini, Mataji, you want to explain that to the group once?
I'm in the temple, there could be disturbance.
Sure.
The background. Sorry.
Okay.
Prabhu.
So, no worries. So, Prabhuji's Mataji, His Grace Namanishta Prabhuji and the group of devotees at ISKCON Mangalore, they have come up with something like a spiritual challenge, what Mataji mentioned to me, Krishna Balaram challenge, something similar, for which Mataji will share the details on the group later this week, where devotees would be given certain tasks to further our Krishna consciousness, including attending morning programs or conducting some specific service. So do look out for those details to be shared in the WhatsApp group for Bakthi Vaibhav. And we would request all the devotees to wholeheartedly participate in this particular initiative, which would help us grow in our Krishna conscious life, plus will help temple community to grow as well. We will inspire other devotees as well. So please do participate enthusiastically, wholeheartedly. Hare Krishna. Is that all right, Rasanandini Mataji?
Perfect, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much. Just one announcement more. Next weekend, as I mentioned, there is a 1.5 day camp here in Pune for Bhakti Vedanta Vanaprastha Sevaks. So I have registered myself for this camp. I don't know how much of it I would be able to attend because of the ongoing dental treatment and all, but I at least aspire to attend. So if there is any firm commitment from my side that I would be able to attend all these 1.5 day of program, I would make a backup arrangement for Bhakti Vaibhav session next weekend. Or if there is any alternate time slot I can accommodate, I will give that option. But this is just a precursor that it is coming on 2nd and 3rd of August. Prabhuji's Mataji's. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vamcha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnav Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.